Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for the TNA Event Center report. And now here's the man to give you all the total non-stop action and impactful report, Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. Episode 2565, 2565. Once again, September 20th, 2025, 12:30 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm up late because I have tomorrow off and I can sleep in. However, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened on Victory Road, and I'll explain why I said what I said on the last episode, talking about SmackDown. So, a triple threat match: Zachary Wentz, Trey Miguel, and Cedric Alexander. Heck of a matchup. And Zachary Wentz ends up winning the matchup. Meanwhile, Gia Miller interviewed the TNA International Champion Steve Macklin. And as Macklin is determined to beat Frankie Kazarian, well, El Macias, formerly known as Judas Macias in TNA, El Macias now working in AAA, shown up and basically confronts Steve Macklin. Boy, if it's not NXT, it's AAA invading TNA now. This can make it interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of weird things have happened, and let me tell you some weird things have happened. Weird things have happened. Then it was the First Class Penthouse with AJ Francis, a.k.a. if Uncle Phil and Santa Claus had a kid. You know what I mean? The dude, and the doofus, the doofus wears his shades. I'm glad he didn't take off his shades. I'm telling you something right now. That was the funniest thing when Rosemary spit, spewed the mist in his eyes, supposedly, and he's selling it like he got really hit in the mist. Dude, you're wearing sunglasses, dude. One of these days I'm going to say, dude, Rosemary misted your face. You were wearing sunglasses, dude. You weren't supposed to be blinded. You were wearing sunglasses, dude. It was the funniest thing. You know how stupid he would look? If he took off his shades, he would look like a big bearded ninja. It's a ninja, okay? Do not take it out of context. I still can't believe that happened last night. This is too funny. Anyways, yeah, a big bearded ninja if he took off his shades and after getting misted by Rosemary, which was so totally hilarious. So he's running his so AJ Francis running his mouth, talking about his new album and all. He hit my music, and then Matt Hardy comes out. Hardy gets in his face, starts dissing AJ Francis. Two brawl, but AJ Francis choke slams Matt Hardy through a table. So then the system addresses the Edmonton crowd. They say they decided to call out the Order 4 in a 6-man tag. So Santino Marella comes out. You know what? Once Victory Road starts, that'll be the first one because I went to Countdown to Victory Road on this one. I didn't go, but I'm saying this is Countdown to Victory Road. So once Victory Road starts, this will be the first matchup. The System versus Order 4 in a trios matchup. JDC is back, so it was Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and JDC with Eddie's wife Alicia. Who, I had a picture of Eddie with Eddie and Alicia last year at the Teddy Good show, final wrestling match, final match show, and you know what I say? Trust the system. And guess what? The system came through. They won. They beat Order 4, and with despite the fact it's Special Agent Zero, and, this big hulking dude, like, all you do is, make sure he's out of the equation, so he won. And, so Ash by Elegance comes out, and the Knockouts World Champ, but here's where everything kind of flips upside down for the Knockouts division. As you know, the Knockouts division has been taking a couple of hits. Taking a hit this week with Monster Slamovich with his allegations going on of assault, domestic assault against her. TNA says they're looking to it, and so they're keeping her off TV for not a while, unfortunately. But it gets a little worse that Ash by Elegance came out and she was being herself, not her bratty elegance. She talked about coming to TNA, making a difference, and she finally become the Knockouts World Champion, and then she says she has to relinquish the title. Dude, I don't know what. Life can throw you curveballs. I don't know why she did that. I don't know why. Something must have happened in her personal life. Something must have happened. Everybody's guessing pregnancy or injury. Is she retiring? I don't know. But whatever it is, I'm very, very sad because, she came a long way from being Dana Brooke in NXT and in the WWE, and she has an opportunity. She had an opportunity with TNA to really make a name for herself and end up being Knockouts World Champion and Knockouts World Tag Team Champion. So she has relinquished the Knockouts World title. But the Elegance brand does keep the tag team titles. Now, that changes things because the Knockouts Tag Team title match that was supposed to happen tonight at Victory Road will be moved to this coming Thursday on Impact. So, in fact, they decided to have a battle royal that included the you know what? There's one wrestler, that I did not see. I saw, but I do not know. So let me just Okay, so let's results. So let me just Victory Road. All right, let me check out ringside seats and okay now. Okay, let's see if I can. So, yeah, and we know, so move to TNA Impact Thursday. The former Spitfire, Dating Luna, Jody Threat was in this battle royal along with the Inspiration, the Elegance brand, the Angel Warriors went in it, but then a surprising entrant, Keilani joined. But there's one more entrant. I do not know who it was in that battle royal. Let me. Who was in that battle royal? I know. So. Oh, Lily La Pescadita. That was her name. Lily La Pescadita. From Mid-Dot was Myla Grace. Now, I'm kind of shocked that you don't see Harley Hudson and Myla Grace in on this thing. You don't see Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford and anything. This is a huge opportunity. I mean, with the Knockouts division just taking a couple of hits. No, after Al gets relinquished her title, Masha Slamovich has been sidelined due to this whole allegation situation. So I'm very, very shocked that not a lot of knockouts were in this battle royal. There should have been more than what there was. But in the end, Keilani Jordan and Li Ying Lee will battle it out for the Knockouts Championship later on in the show of later on in the show. So. Gina Miller interviewed Indy Hartwell while she's supposed to be refereeing that matchup. She will call it down the middle. They met Cardona and the Hometown Man against the Nemesis, and I thought the Nemesis would win because they would cheat, but Hometown Man and Cardona won the matchup. And then the Nemesis attacked after the matchup and took the Hometown Man's mask. Jerks. So, and Mike Santana addresses the Edmonton crowd and told Trick Williams he's going to send a message to him through Ridge Holland. Mike Santana and Ridge Holland went one-on-one. Santana won the matchup, but then Trick Williams attacks him after the matchup. So it seems to me Trick Williams will have to fight him one of these days, but he keep on back jumping him. We'll see what happens there. And TNA Doctor was checking out Matt Hardy, and Santana goes, "Are you ready to go?" "Yeah, I'm good to go. I want to put AJ Francis through a table." And so, but right now it was a man advantage match, Moose versus Mustafa Ali. Order 4's been banned from ringside. The system's been banned from ringside. But in his entrance, not just had the Order 4, but some kind of belly dancing escorts. I don't know what they were there for. Something is up. Because they stayed at the beginning of the entrance ring, just sitting down, like meditating. What the heck is going on? It was close counts and all that. And then those belly dancers started coming to ringside, distracting the referee, distracting Moose, and the third one, low-blowed Moose. Low-blowed Moose, Mustafa Ali took advantage of it, and now Ali has won the matchup. Now Order 4 has the man advantage, but here's the crazy part. That third belly dancer was Tasha Steelz. If I was general manager of TNA, if I was in Santino's shoes, I'd listen. I know the referee's decision is final, but here's the deal. I would shorten up the time of when another member comes in. Is you may have the man advantage, but I'm shortening up the time, the intervals for the next person. I will tell you why. Because in fact, I'm shortening up the time for the intervals when the system could come in. Like if two wrestlers start off, I would give them at least 1 minute to fight, then bring the other member of the system in. I should give them a minute tops to for them to fight out, and the system can come in. Like they have the man advantage. Well, guess what? I'm evening it up by giving only a minute, because after a minute, get in the ring. That's what I would do. You know what I mean? Like every 2 minutes afterwards, another wrestler enters the Royal Rumble. I would say every minute afterwards. The member of the system would come in. Order 4's got the man advantage. Since they decided to cheat, I would say, well, I can't change the victory, but here's what I can do, though. Give the system a minute interval. That way they have a shorter time to enter, and they would have, don't have to worry about taking too long. So that's what I would do. Anyways, so Eric Young addresses the Edmonton crowd and says that Joe Hendry, because he attacked Joe Hendry before the matchup. Joe Hendry interrupts Eric Young, and he's not in a very good mood, Joe Hendry did. And they had their matchup. During the matchup, Juice Icarus and Travis Williams, formerly of the Northern Armory, I think they should call themselves the Northern Armory as a tag team, distracted Eric Young. Joe Hendry took advantage of it, standing ovation on the steel chair. 1, 2, 3. Joe Hendry ended up winning the match. Then there was Matt Hardy versus AJ Francis in a tables matchup. Because Matt Hardy decided to announce, as I talked with Santino, it's a tables matchup. The first table, AJ Francis went through it by himself, because he hurled towards what you have to put your opponent through a table. Then during the matchup, as another table was at ringside, Matt Hardy decided to do a leg drop off the table with AJ Francis on it, and ended up winning. And Matt Hardy ended up winning the match. Now, you got to bear in mind, though, Jeff Hardy is not allowed in Canada. That's why he's not there. So there's that. Then the Knockouts World Title on the line with referee Indy Hartwell, Lei Ying Lee, and Kaylani Jordan, and Kaylani Jordan accidentally knocked out Indy, but Jordan ended up picking up the victory and became the new TNA Knockouts champion, which now the Knockouts title is back in NXT hands. But despite that, though, she was a good sport. She was a good sport to Lei Ying Lee. Respect that. And then Ash by Elegance, who was Kaylani's mentor in NXT, in her final days in NXT as Dana Brooke, congratulated her as well. And then Indy Hartwell shook her hand and says, listen, I'm coming after that title at Bound for Glory. So it'll be very interesting in that situation. Then the international title was on the line. Steve Macklin versus Frankie Kazarian. And during the matchup, El Macias once again appears at ringside. Macklin goes after him, but it was costly because once he got back to the ring, referee was distracted with El Macias. Frankie Kazarian low blows him with the ropes. Hits his move. 1, 2, 3. We have a new TNA International Champion in Frankie Kazarian. Hasn't won the big one yet, the world title, but we'll see. And then the match of the night, the X Division title, Leon Slater versus Myron Reed. Heck of a matchup between these two guys. Slater ends up winning the matchup. The two men hug and with respect. So Santino Marella comes out. It was a great match. He said, Bound for Glory, you're going to defend the X Division title. Against whom? Well, and remember I told you that Javon Evans' night was not over yet? Guess what? Javon Evans came in and said, hey, I have not fought in a TNA ring yet. So, Leon Slater, I'll see you. X Division title. And everybody was raving about this. It's going to be the match of the century. Dream matchup. Javon Evans versus Leon Slater. I say that's a dream matchup. I say let's go. Give me a second here, folks. So that is the dream matchup. Javon Evans, Leon Slater, X Division title. I want to see this matchup. But, I'm sure like the TNA and the TNA contingent has not been very happy about, this, because you got the TNA World title in the hands of Trick Williams and NXT Wrestling. Now the Knockouts title's back in the hands of NXT via Kaylani Jordan. Will the X Division title head that direction? Who knows? Heck of a matchup between Javon Evans and Leon Slater. A lot of people want to see this matchup. Let's make it happen. So, another matchup is happening in the books right now. You got the TNA World title happening. You got the X Division title, the Knockouts title, the Tag Team titles. All the titles are on the line so far. We got to worry about the International title. Will that be on the line again in a rematch? Who knows? But knowing Frankie Kazarian will act like a coward and not defend it. Who knows? We're going to have a lot of fun here. Well, that's all the time that we have on the show. Tomorrow, we'll get a little bit of Card Sharks, the final Card Sharks and 2 Saturdays for September 2025. First one of fall 2025. Not only that, we got AEW Collision. We got NXT's No Mercy. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Brandon Martin might do a reaction on that. We shall see. We shall see what happens. So, I will be seeing you guys later. You guys have a wonderful, blessed night. I got to upload these videos and get some sleep. So until the next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and do it for Bob Saget production and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.